One of the oldest thoroughbred racetracks in the country is in ruins this morning. Rockingham Park in Salem, New Hampshire is the victim, and BZ Newsman Anthony Silva is there.
The grandstand and most of the clubhouse here at Rockingham Park are just gnarled, charred mess of bent beams and cracked concrete. The original grandstand building was constructed back in 1906, and since then it was glassed in. And just a few weeks ago, a $4 million computer system was installed. Now, all $20 million of it is a colossal loss. The fire was first noticed by one of two watchmen, but by the time fire units arrived, the clubhouse was an inferno. One of the first firemen on the scene was Lieutenant Bob Shannon. I asked him about the proximity of the huge propane tanks behind the grandstand.
The thing we could think about it at the beginning, we were able to get in there and we went down, so there's really not much of a problem with the propane now. But the front of the building was going like a fire storm, and it was really concerned for a little while about those tanks.
There were no injuries, and the 1,450 horses stabled here were never in danger. But the 47 racing days remaining at Rockingham are now in deep doubt. Reporting from Rockingham Park, Anthony Silva, WBZ News.
Are there any plans to rebuild immediately, or?
It's too early to make a decision, but the impact of Rockingham Park on the community and the state and the whole area is such that we would hope to be able to regroup, reorganize, and continue racing here at Rockingham.
Will you be looking for help from the state of New Hampshire?
It's too early to determine how we would go about doing it, but that's, you see, the state of New Hampshire out of Rockingham alone gets upwards of $5 million a year just in direct payments without any of the fringes. And of course we would talk with the state and the town, and it would be a group concerted activity that we'd engage in.
Do you have any idea where the fire started or how it started?
The best information we have is that in the mid part of the grandstand on the second floor, it apparently started. We have a fire watch complete, and the watchmen were through there at 6 o'clock. Our records show they punched. At 6:30 they punched, and the fire started about 7:15, and then just went completely through the grandstand. And that's not unusual, because you've got a grandstand that was built in 1906, completely wooden. In those days it was covered with oil, and it wasn't fireproof. And then as years have gone on, we've rebuilt it and added to it, so you have this cover of all of this old material. And once a fire gets started in that, it just mushrooms and goes right through the whole structure, which is what happened here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Art Berlin, Director of Media Services for the Salem School District. We'd like to welcome you to Election 81. Hosting our show tonight will be Ann McCullough of WVNH and Paul Mauricio of the Salem High School. We hope you will enjoy our election coverage. We hope to bring to you a number of reports from our reporters in the field. We have with us tonight Mr. Richard Noyes, editor of the Salem Observer, Paul McCarthy of the Salem Observer staff, Chris Woodward of the Lawrence Eagle Tribune, and Mike Stewart of radio station WVNH, who will be filing special reports throughout tonight's show. Election 81 will feature this historic day in Salem. Okay, we're here with Margaret Gurney at the Barron School, and she's going to show us the kind of voting card that the Salem voters did today.
Well, this is a sample. You put it in with the figures on the bottom. Put it all the way in till you hook onto the two red spots. You start your book, page 1. If this is the one you want, you go over and you push it all the way down so that it punctures this one. And you go through the book to the end. On your articles, you vote yes or no, and you punch the same way. When you get to the end, flip this up, pull it out, put it back in the envelope, and you're ready to check out.
Thank you, Mrs. Gurney. And that's how the Salem voters voted today, and that's the machine system that Salem has been so proud about and should speed up our results tonight. And back to you, Paul and Ann. Okay, part of our news coverage is to show you with a microwave unit out here on Spicket Hill. That's Channel 4's truck way at the top of the hill. That's Channel 5 trying to get out of the mud. Channel 4's truck had an interesting story. It came up here on Monday night, and may not come down until Wednesday night, or may not come down until the springtime comes. A lot of mud up here. We bent the tie rods on the truck, but we do have a good microwave signal to Boston. This is just to give you an idea of how important this election is, not only to Salem, but to all of New England, particularly when you talk about the Bruins. And I think at this point, Paul and Ann, we're going to go over and maybe give a hand to Channel 5 and we'll shoot the show back to you. Thank you.
Joe Day reporting live from Salem High School, where later tonight the results of today's voting will be reported to the public. There are millions of dollars ultimately at stake in all this, and evidence of that is the considerable time, effort, and money that Delaware North has invested in getting the support and the goodwill of the people of Salem. That effort has been undertaken with the blessing of virtually all the town officials here, and with the knowledge that Rockingham Park had operated here for roughly 3/4 of a century. You'd have to have been living under a rock in Salem for the past several months not to know of the existence of the referendum on dog racing, and not to know that the most visible activity has been by the proponents. That has led some opponents, including a spokesman for New England racing interests elsewhere, to respond this way when asked if he feels voters really understand it all.
All of the issues, and there are many that are complicated, have not been put before the public because for several reasons. Number one, there just hasn't been enough time. Number two is a lot of people have not been able to get the entire background of Delaware North because it has had so many names previously, they don't know who they are.
Over at the Rock itself, as Rockingham Park is known, one finds a different view from the general manager of the New Hampshire Jockey Club, which used to run Rockingham Park. The assets of the club would be sold to Delaware North for $12.5 million under the proposal.
The people of Salem have had an opportunity to review this proposal, top to bottom, in every way possible. I think that's good. I think it's a major, it will have a major impact on the town of Salem for many years to come, even if it's voted in the negative form.
Salem High School's extensive television setup and studio is ready to broadcast the results over cable television locally and to accommodate newspeople such as us later this evening, because this story and the issue have received wide attention. In a very real sense, this whole matter is seen by some people in this fast-growing area as southern New Hampshire's chance to turn pro, to make it to the big time. But even if Salem voters say yes, the margin could be very important, because the next stop for Delaware North and the Bruins will be Concord, New Hampshire, and the state legislature, which at 400+ members is the largest in the country. We will have complete results and live at 11 o'clock on our 11 o'clock newscast. For Checkpoint, from Salem, New Hampshire, this is Joe Day reporting live.
On the articles, Article 1, or Article 2 rather, yes, 5,110, no, 3,193 have adopted Article 2.
Now I can tell you this, that I've been involved in the political arena in New Hampshire for about 21 years. And I've learned to accept the verdict of the voters, win or lose. But I have never seen anything that matches this for blatant, raw political power. And I think that the Attorney General is going to have some interesting questions and is going to be asked about this, because the question clearly says that if you want dog racing with the Boston Bruins, and nowhere does the word Boston Bruins appear on any warrant, that was part of the advertising gimmick. And you can alibi and you can call it anything you want, but it is a flagrant, and if it's not an illegal way to conduct an election, it's certainly immoral. For that reason, for the 4th time in 9 years, we have defeated dog racing in Salem, and I hope we can put that issue to rest.
I'm here with Al Francoeur, who represents one of the horse owners groups that has opposed this particular item. Al, your point of view is because of the results on another article that actually dog racing has been defeated. Can you explain that for me, please?
For the 4th time in 9 years, we've defeated dog racing. We beat it by almost 3-1. Article 3 was the straight dog racing question, and it lost by almost 3-1, and that's what we came here to do.
I should point out that there were 3 items voted on today which related to dog racing and Rockingham Park. The first of those 3 items related the dog racing to the possible move of a hockey team unnamed, although everybody knew it was the Bruins. And that, as I say, has passed by a healthy margin. The article to which Mr. Francoeur is referring was the next article, which was a flat acceptance or rejection of dog racing in Salem, and that lost by a greater margin than the other one passed.
This has been a very exciting day, people.
I'm going to go on the
final.
Interesting night.
Okay. And an interesting 2 or 3 months.
Move back to my seat.
We've had a lot of attention focused on Salem by regional media, by local media, concerning the dogs primarily. And the outcome is with us. The dogs have won. We've sent the message
wait a minute. The dogs and the sports arena.
And the sports arena, I'm sorry. Article 2, to clarify that, has won. And I would say that we've sent the message to Concord, the state legislature, to Governor Gallen.
The final vote on Article 2, just to recap it once more, was 5,110 for it, and let me see, what was 1,504, no, I'm sorry, 3,193 against. So it is a very strong message, I believe, that will be going up to Concord. That's where the next hurdle for this will take place, up in Concord with the legislators. There's a $125 million tax package that has to be talked about up in Concord. Whether or not that can be negotiated is still up in the air, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from the Delaware North people as to exactly what will be happening with that from here.
Well, Delaware North has indicated over the last couple of weeks anyway that they are willing to negotiate the $125 million. So only time will tell, I guess, on that point, Ian.
So for all of us at CTVA, this is Art Berlin wishing you a very good evening.
Good night.
Good night.